to everyone and for whoever watching this episode from whichever different places of the world. And a warm welcome to all of you to yet another episode of The Revolving Perspectives. Revolving Perspectives, powered by positivity and sponsored by enthusiasm. We have witnessed a great evolution since last 2 to 3 decades. This has reflected over choosing career options. So there was an equation in India earlier that if it would be a boy, he would choose a career option as engineering, and if it would be a girl, it would be definitely medicine, that is being a doctor. Over the period, this equation changed, and then lot of other career options, paths of careers started evolving, and youngsters started choosing different career options. So then there was a crucial question that whether our capabilities, skill sets, aptitudes are matching to what we are choosing, and there we started needing a career counselor. Today we are going to meet a lady who not only supports through this choice of career option, but also helps us to decide whether we have that aptitude or whether we need to develop certain capabilities for the same. So let's give a warm welcome to our today's guest, Ms. Smita Vikhankar. Hello, Smita.
Hi, Vinda.
So I wanted to know that your career has begun from choosing professional or career option as engineering. That's what I know. And then today you are a career counselor. So my first very curious question to you is, how did this shift happen?
Okay, I started my career as an engineer because my father was my idol and I looked up to him. I just wanted to become like him.
Okay.
So because he was an engineer, it was very natural for me to take that field. And I excelled in it, I was good at it. So it stayed with me as a career for almost 3 decades.
Oh.
And at one point, you see children struggling. At one point, I saw a lot of youngsters who came into IT industry, because mainly I worked in the IT industry, who came there by chance or who came there by peer pressure or maybe even parental pressure. And that was not their calling. And in any case, there was a time when I wanted to decide that I want to probably do something of my own. And that's when I decided that probably helping people choose their right career would be my calling. And that's what I decided to do. And now that's what I'm doing. I'm helping people choose right careers.
Okay, so before I go ahead with you making this choice and this shift, I wanted to know a little bit about your experience as a software professional. So what was there? What was your experience as a software professional?
As a software professional, earlier it looked like a very glamorous industry. Of course, people got to travel. People had good paychecks. We worked in a very, very good infrastructure. So I think it's still a good career, I would say, but the skill sets and the upskills that are required, very, very frequent upskills in software industry are required, and that's a very, very challenging thing. So unless you are very, very good at computer science and programming, the IT industry would probably not suit you. Things are changing in IT. So if you see machine learning has come up, artificial intelligence has come up, a lot of automation has come up. Okay, so unless you're very good at that, you may not be able to sustain or probably not be able to carry forward for long. Okay, so IT industry over the time has changed. In my times, it was a little easier. Okay, if you know computers, if you know programming, probably you could survive for long. But now that has become a little challenging. Okay, however, if you have some good domain expertise and mixed with some IT experience, so your domain expertise and IT expertise together, this mix can probably help you in the long term. Okay. So IT industry as such is not very, I would say, restricted now. If you see, it has software has entered every other domain. You know? Even if you have a clerical job, you have to sit in front of the computer. Earlier you had books.
Yes, it's just part and parcel.
Parcel of it. So, but is not software. That is just using the software.
Correct.
Okay, so there are two aspects: using a software and creating a software. So that is where I think people are making wrong, assumptions of IT industry. Using software is not IT industry.
All right. But then lot of youngsters today, when we see, are choosing this option. Maybe because of the opportunities that are available, or maybe the upcoming opportunities, and also maybe an attractive point in terms of paychecks, and maybe a career path that they can see. So you mean to say that this industry is changing, but then still lot of youngsters are opting out for this. So what match or difference? How do you look at this scenario?
So there's nothing wrong in choosing this industry if you're good at it. Okay, so and that goes for every other industry, I would say. Okay, so software industry, like I said, the things that are changing. Okay, you don't get to travel as much. Okay, that early attraction is no longer there. Everything can happen virtual, so you don't get to travel. Second thing is, are you up for sitting on the desk from morning 9 till 10 in the evening, or maybe even 7 for that matter? Are you up for that? Many people I've seen, they get bored. Okay, maybe coding continuously is not your game. Okay, so are you prepared for that? If you are ready for this, if you're good at coding, then yes, then it's your domain. And if you could apply your domain expertise and apply it to IT, again, then in that case also software industry could be right for you. But for example, slowly I talk about some of the skills. Supposing you are a kinesthetic person, okay, and you want to move around, you want to play around, then probably sitting at one desk from 9 to 5 is not going to keep you happy. Okay, so that's the reason it's very important to understand what skills you have, what type of a person you are. Is that industry going to really work for you? Or I've seen people like working for 2 months and that they get so disillusioned. Oh, this is not what I wanted. So choose software industry is still good. Again, are you the right fit for it?
Correct. So this realization, was it part of your 3 decades journey with software industry, or it came later? As you shifted to the next part of your
it came later. It came later. When I became an engineer, I was hardly 20. So that time we don't even realize. Like I said, it was just whatever my father did, I just chose it, right? But later on, I realized I'm more of a very social person. I always wanted to have something of my own. So even when I was into the corporate industry, I always, the job was one thing, but I always used to be part of some of the other activities, we had, in one organization, I had an activity of calling speakers and having them organize maybe 1 or 2 hour sessions, and I drove it for almost 2 years. Which in effect is an exception in corporate, anything running like that, So, but I was always interested in something extra than whatever that job gave me, So that was my characteristics. I always wanted something different, something more. I couldn't sit there for so long. I used to get up from my desk and go and talk to people. So that's where I realized that in the long term, this job is not going to keep me happy. I need to go get out, and that's also probably why, probably you may not know, but I'm very active in Rotary.
Okay.
So Rotary is a social organization, and because that's what keeps me happy. I'm a very social person, and if I now look at back, probably software industry was not so good.
Not your
personality.
Yes. So then, when you shifted to entrepreneurship, obviously there was the sea in front of you. I mean, lots of options were there. When it comes to entrepreneurship, there is like industry of choice that we make, or what exactly that we want to do. So how did you choose this career counseling and career guidance type of stream?
Okay, so there is a story behind it.
Okay.
Earlier I wanted to start something of my own. Was what it should be is the discussion we have at home and all, right? I knew I'm very good at trainings. I knew I'm good at imparting skills, so talking to people, helping people understand. That was my skill. Okay, then naturally came was how can I bring my IT skills and train people. That's what I started with, and at that time the major need was how to help people click interviews. Okay, that was one problem. So I thought of solving that problem. So I formed a team with my daughter, and we decided to do that. Unfortunately, that didn't really click so well because I had my some other priorities coming in, personal priorities. So we halted that. And then I went again back into corporate business, corporate for almost 2 years.
So it was like to and fro type of a thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I said, okay, that's a halt. But then again, in my last job, I was like, no, this is not for me. Somewhere this has to stop. So in the background, then we did some homework.
Okay.
I formed a team within family members. Some people got certified in career counseling. My daughter got certified in counseling on personality types. So, and then I said, okay, I'll probably form the company. I'll have certified counselors with me. And then we got them on board. And now it's a team of 4 people.
Cool.
So I have people who are counselors in their specific areas, and then I run the organization.
Okay.
Okay, and day by day we are learning. With every new student that we counsel, we also learn. So in the last 6 months that we have counseled students, we have counseled students from Dubai, US, Singapore, Bangalore, Calcutta, and that gives us a very good exposure to different careers and all. So I think it's a growing field. I thought that also keeps me close to students. That keeps me close to youngsters. That's what I enjoy talking to, dealing with. That's where the energy comes from. So I think I have found my sweet spot now.
Oh, great. Wonderful. So this brings me to my next question is, so whenever we are into a profession where we earn as salary, so that is a confirmed income that we have. And at times I see people moving from a service or job type of a thing to entrepreneurship with certain niche things in mind. But then there are challenges, and the very first challenge is this. Because when you choose entrepreneurship, your income is not fixed.
Yes.
You have to strive for it, and you are still not sure when it is going to give you that sort of result. So was this the challenge that you faced?
Yes.
One, and then were there any other challenges as well?
Yes. So yes, the monthly paycheck is a huge challenge, and I did face that. So the first time when I said we failed at it, and I had to go back to the corporate, so that was one of the challenges. Because the monthly paycheck brings in some stability. We had some plans around it. So it didn't work out, so I had to go back. But it was okay. Now that I started once again, I'm very clear that this is not going to be there. But fortunately for my estate, I'm settled. In a way, I think the liabilities are taken care of. My children are working. My husband takes care of his own thing. So in a way, I have that freedom to try and experiment. So I'm at a place, and fortunately, as a person, my needs are very minimal. So that way it helps.
Okay.
But having said that, that is one challenge I think everybody should just accept, because see, I had this opportunity of going back to corporate and get to work for almost 2 years. That may not be true for everybody who's coming out of IT industry. It's very challenging. Once you come out, you may not be able to go back.
Good.
So take care of your finances. Keep, I would say, at least 1 year of finances where you can still survive, and then take this plunge is something that uncalled advice.
I'm going to come to that anyway.
Yeah.
From an experienced person like you, those advices are definitely wanted. But then, while working over those challenges, were there specific techniques or specific approaches, attitudes that really came to your head, or you developed something towards that?
A lot had to be developed. Okay. So just to give you some insight, I started my career as an entrepreneur.
Oh, so
Yes. So
like,
when I
way
passed out,
back,
way back
okay.
in 1991 when I got married, actually I had my own institute. In those days, I used to teach C language and Pascal language.
So
and
that's in the blood then.
yes, and I used to do freelance software development. But it was a very small place, a small village, but still I was doing pretty well.
Okay.
But when we decided to move to a metro city from that small village, that is the time when I decided that I have to pursue my education. So I had 2 diplomas, and then when we moved to a place, Aurangabad, I decided to pursue my engineering and masters.
Okay.
So that's what we did. But for 5 years, I had run my institute. But that time, most of the marketing was done by my husband.
Oh.
Okay, I was the executioner, and we used to like get me projects, or most of the things he used to manage. Now that was completely my responsibility. You know, in fact, if you see, I have counselors on board, so the execution part is taken care in part by others. But I'm the front face now, so a lot of new things I have to learn, and things have changed so much. Earlier it was face to face, people whom you know. Now it's through strangers. You will just put things on LinkedIn, you put things on Facebook, and then you're expected to get leads from completely out of nowhere. But I think I'm learning it. WhatsApp has helped me a lot. So with every new week, I'm learning how to do it. So this is of course, and I think this is a challenge with every new person who will be coming in this field as an entrepreneur. You know, we'll have to learn the games of marketing and reaching out to people. You know, so I think that was one challenge. That was a new approach I had to take. Another is the dreams that you start with. Okay, for example, I coming from IT industry, I had some calculations in here.
Okay.
These are the numbers I'm going to make. These are the things I'm going to do. So I did some reverse calculations that if I have to achieve those numbers, then this is the weekly target or this is the monthly target, and then suddenly that doesn't fall in place. So you have to do some reverse thinking. So that's what happened. I need a break.
Okay.
You want water?
Okay, so continue with the challenges that you.
Yeah, that was one challenge. So I would say refining the numbers and expectations. That is one learning.
I'll just stop you here for a minute. So when you say expectations, you said that you formed your own team. So expectations from your expectations from yourself, or there were some set expectations of the team itself?
Both.
Okay.
So it's like you come with your own dreams. Okay, that may not necessarily match with the skill sets that you have. That may not necessarily match with the priorities that the team has. Okay, so we had to reset a lot of things. And then of course there are challenges, like sometimes you have to understand the perspectives of the other people in the team. Why don't they have the same priorities? You know, probably you have dreams here, but the team says it's okay here. why are you running so fast? You know, so that is something that we had to match. So I had to come down, I had to get the team a little up, and but it's a learning process. And I think we are learning, and fortunately we are growing. So
Great. So you said you are now interacting with students or maybe professionals from various places across the world. How is that experience? Because I am sure that even before this COVID scenario, we were not so great interacting with people through virtual medium.
yes,
We were quite comfortable for a face-to-face kind of a thing, and especially when it comes to counseling. Need to know that body language, certain hidden things which are not said, but you have to read between the lines. So we are most of the times more comfortable when you see the person. So how did you manage with that?
yeah. So I would say the pandemic has been a little blessing in disguise. Earlier when we started, so the plans for this had started in last Jan, and we were on the verge of having one counselor in every metro city. Okay, we had those plans where, because we needed that physical thing, we wanted people to come and talk to us, right? And with this pandemic, we said, why don't we give it a try? Let's try on Zoom. And suddenly, for our benefit, also what happened is people are comfortable now.
Oh yes.
If parents say, we are happy you're doing it online. We are happy we don't need to come to your place. Okay. So in a way, it worked in our favor. And now we don't need counselors everywhere in the world.
You can operate
We
from
can operate from
your
wherever
location.
we are. So in a way, it has worked for us. Yes, there have been one or two instances where people, especially parents, have said, "Ma'am, if you are available, we would like to come and meet you." But that's, I think, one of occasions, and that's okay. So we do. If people are here in Pune, then we do.
If it is feasible, you
Yes.
can still go ahead
Yes.
with that.
But I have a physical presence in Pune, in Houston, in the US, and I have physical presence in Jalgaon district as well. So if people want to meet us physically, we are available for that too. But otherwise, the online thing is working perfectly well.
All right, great. So then now it is a shift from job kind of a thing to entrepreneurship, and I'm sure you have experienced a lot of things. You have been sharing it with us also. Uh, what is your advice to the budding entrepreneurs? Because a lot of people are thinking of this kind of shift for various reasons. Everyone would
Yes.
have a different
Yes.
reason for their own good. So, what is your advice? How should they look at it?
First thing is, like I said, take care of your finances, because that could be the biggest stress. Okay, once that is taken care of, like when so it's lesson learned. When I started, I used to run it like a job. Okay, I used to start at 8, ended at 11, then I used to make my team run behind and do everything, and it doesn't really work. Okay, uh, you can be thinking of your organization and your work all the time, but it cannot be work. Otherwise, you'll get tired. And if things don't move in that pace, you'll get frustrated. So again, this may not be right for everyone, but from my experience, I'm going to say take a break in between, assess things where you are, try to see whether your expectations are really right or wrong. Okay, is your team really coming along with you like you want it? So, and every day is a learning. Every entrepreneur will have his own journey. You have to learn on the job. Here, there are no written guidelines and books
that you can follow.
Yes, but at the same time, I would definitely suggest networking with like-minded people. Networking with people who can understand your pain points, and understanding how they are handling their pain points can help to a great extent. For example, I was never very good at using LinkedIn. For me, Facebook was just a social media where you don't do anything. Rotary for me was just social work. I never looked at Rotary as something like a business platform. But then when I talk to people, I learn from people. The more you talk to, you learn from them. So I think you have to network with like-minded people and learn from them. Don't try to reinvent the same wheels again and again. The quicker you learn, the better.
Perfect. All right. So now, what would you like? How would you like to move forward? It's a new business. It's just 1 year.
6 months.
6 months old. Okay, so maybe phase probably. How do you want to take this forward, and what do you see happening, say after 2 years, 5 years?
Okay, so I'm just going to be honest with you. This business has seasons. Okay, I would like to have parents always aware and cautious that they have to take some decisions for their children. What I've seen is suddenly when exams are there, or suddenly when admissions are going on, that time parents will be like they just get up and say, oh, I need to take some decisions. Okay, so during examination period or maybe admission period, we have sudden flow of students. But when actually they need counseling, when the students are studying, when there is all over the year, they should be doing some career planning, right? So that is where I think I want to bring a difference, bring that awareness. That it's not only during the last phase or suddenly when you're in pressure or in trouble, you talk about your children's career. That's a continuous conversation that you need to have with your children. So that's where I want to bring in some changes. Second is a very new idea that has just come up. Probably I'm just sharing with you. Okay. First time is internships, where I saw the need of people wanting. For example, I tell a student, probably law is your career. Now that child of 10th standard doesn't even know what law means, and then they want to experiment. Okay, So, and they're looking for virtual internships. So I think that is my next thing, how I can provide virtual internships to students. So that's what I'm looking for, and careers are getting global. So like I said, I've already counseled students from Dubai and US. So careers are no longer India specific, right? So I want to be globally present and see how I can grow globally and also introduce virtual internships. So that's where I see myself.
Correct. So, what I pick up from what you just said is, when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's not only being great or developing yourself in that particular field. You also should be innovative and to think of what value addition that you are going to do to the industry or to the field, and what USP that you are planning to come up with. And I'm sure this is also one more message to the entrepreneurs, that they also keep thinking of these value addition points from their perspective. As you just mentioned, that parents need to be aware that when and how should
Yes.
the counseling go. So then, do you also intend to make any difference in the education field, or is there anything on your mind in that regard also?
Frankly speaking, I haven't really thought about it. But virtual internships is definitely a step in that direction, where children will understand what that field is about, they learn about it. But I haven't really thought about it. But one thing I will definitely like to tell you, as entrepreneurs, how you need to refine. When I started doing career counseling, we had thought about career assessments for which stream to select after 10th, or what are my top most suitable careers. Those were the assessments we had. There are other career assessments like personality. Okay, we had not probably thought so much about it, but when we offered this to students, in fact, those were the most liked. Okay, so suddenly it was a realization. Okay, oh, personality type and what are the multiple intelligences, those psychometric tests are more popular and with the parents and the children. So we have started giving those too. So suddenly we are like, our focus was more on the career assessments, but we got more popularity, more response to the personality type. So that was one learning. Sometimes you might not pay attention to something that is there with you. So that was one learning. Then I had to get a counselor on board for those that type of counseling. So that was definitely one learning. Another thing I want to add is, when we are actually counseling students, I can relate to the students so well, and I really love talking to students. That 1.5 hours is so enjoyable. The same thing with the counselors that we have taken on board. So that passion shows. Every time we have spoken to students, after we have spoken to the children, they are so happy about it, and that makes us feel that this passion that we bring in is our USP. Always the intent of doing good for the student is so visible with us and with parents also, and I think that is a very important thing for every entrepreneur. The intent that you bring in and the passion that you bring in is actually going to show, and that is something that is going to help you to grow. So that's what I felt when dealing with students.
Wow. While making this journey the way you dreamt of it, was there any mental block or something as a limitation that was there, and you had to really work on it and get over it to move on? Was there anything like that?
Not a mental block, but some hesitance, I would say. Are parents really looking for this? Are we doing the right thing by offering these guidelines? Sometimes, are we doing the right thing for the students? Are we restricting them to some careers? So this thought was there. But as we started speaking to the students, there is really a lot of confusion. And so they do need help. So when we started realizing that students really need help, when we started realizing that parents really need some help in guiding, sometimes you see, even parents' intentions are always good
For the good of
the good of the child, but sometimes they are not able to talk to them. Probably in some cases the conversation is just not there. We have seen students opening up to us which they have never shared with their parents. So these things, when these things started coming out, then we started realizing, no, we are in the right thing, we are doing the right thing. Earlier there was some hesitance, because are we restricting the students, are we doing the right thing for them? But now I know there is a lot of need for this. we are doing the right thing. We are helping a lot of parents and children come together on the same platform. Just day before, I had a parent calling, I want my daughter to pick up engineering. And she said, the daughter is saying, my elder sister has done medicine, I want to go into medicine. So we have to handle. So this time, this psychometric test, showing facts, see, this is what the child's liking is, and what would be right in the long run. And of course, the children also need to understand the parents' perspective, right, where the parents are coming from. So helping them to bring those conversations on the table is also a very good thing. So earlier, whatever I used to feel like probably this may not work, now I know this is the need of the hour. It's really, really needed.
All right. Okay. We are coming to towards the end of an interview, but this question has just popped up my mind, and I cannot stop myself asking this. Most of the times, even in family, you said you made a team out of family, and in family, like we see that everybody has a different opinion and different approaches to look at things. Was it difficult to manage that?
It comes with challenges. It comes with challenges. See, basically, you bring a team which is highly, highly qualified. They are very good at their own things, right? So naturally, when they're good at doing whatever is right and good, a lot of things will come along with that, right? So as I had always been the manager, I had in my IT career, I had always been leading teams. So you come with your own set of right. You always direct people. You
Maybe get things done.
Get things done. But here it's a team now. So that was a learning. So of course we had some challenges too. Especially like I said, when it's a family, my daughter, right? So she was very clear. This is the slot I'm going to give you. This is the time. I have my priorities. Beyond this, I cannot give. So she was very clear with the time that she is going to allot to this. My sister, she is a global certified counselor, and she said, these are my principles, this is what I'm going to deal with, and if this doesn't, my counseling doesn't fit in this criteria, you can consider me out. Now you have to manage all this, but they were right in their own places. Okay, for me, meeting the numbers was probably the game, so I had to refine that. Okay, so but then in the end, I think it's working very well with the family. As a family, we all are growing, so challenges are going to be there with the family, without the family. So even if you hire people from outside, if you have a team with outsiders, these challenges are going to be there. In the end, I bring in a lot of professionalism though. Okay. So that's something that I add. So family might say, okay, chalta hai attitude. Sometimes I have to bring in that professionalism. So we have to bring in that balance.
Correct. So, may it be family, may it be a team from outside people, but that balance has to be maintained, and probably then we start respecting the value addition that is happening from other people, and then we grow together. That's what probably you meant.
Yes.
Okay, so now while coming to an end, what is that one single message or maybe learning or something that you want to share with the entrepreneurs and of course the audience of our platform, the Revolving Perspectives?
Okay, so I'm at a spot where I think things have fallen up in place very well for me.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to use that as an opportunity to give advice.
All right.
Okay, one is starting my own entrepreneurship. So be brave, don't be afraid. Take the plunge. Okay, if you have the right passion and interest, things will fall in place. Okay, that's one thing. Networking. So I'm part of Empower Network, and that has immensely helped me in connecting with people, in getting references. So as entrepreneurs, don't shy away, is what I would say. Go out, tell people that you're in business. Go out and meet people, and there's no harm in asking for help. Okay, so if you don't know something, ask for help. People, you might feel that people don't want to help, but that's a completely wrong bias or assumption. People are always willing to help. So yes, go out, ask for help, connect with people, talk to people, is what I would say. And as an entrepreneur, if you think you need somebody to nudge you, push you to grow, I'm a life coach. Reach out to me. I can coach you and I can provide you that push, because as a coach, my job is to help people unleash their potential. So, as an entrepreneur, if you need that help, so to have somebody who can coach you to grow, reach out to Smita Vikram.
Wonderful. It was great talking to you
Yeah.
and knowing your journey. Thank you so much for sparing this time and your insights as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinda. I would like to thank you and Gunjan and the Rewarding Perspective team for giving me this opportunity to talk about young career solutions, to talk about Empower Network, and also to talk about me as a life coach. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.